and suddenly you see content on your timeline from people that you have never seen before.
We live in this era, short time span.
Exactly.
Swipe.
Volume is not relevant if you cannot commit to consistent. Obviously, volume is important, but being consistent is more important. I remember myself talking about content 15 years ago. This technology exists 20 years from now, and you see companies that make millions, and they still use the paper. They have given like 300,000 for TV.
Can you explain to me the process you followed to find the results and the sources that you used?
I think this is one of the biggest challenges and worries that most of the board members of Google are discussing right now.
That's usually powered by a major search engine's data, like Google, under the hood, but I don't randomly pick one myself.
It didn't want to tell you, but it used Google.
Welcome to the Financial Frontiers podcast. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that bell icon to get notified when we upload new content. Follow us on Spotify and give us a 5-star rating. It will help the channel, which I hope you love so much. Here we are, another episode of the Financial Frontiers podcast. Today, my guest is Pantelis Vladimirou from Webarts, an entrepreneur who started from a young age, entered into the digital space. Webarts has been around since 2008, serving digital marketing to some of the biggest companies in Cyprus, and I don't know, maybe abroad. Let's see what Pantelis' story is, what Webarts does, get into the world of digital marketing, how it's changed, how it was, what it is, where it's going, and hopefully give some value to the audience. Thank you, Pantelis, for your time. Looking forward to this conversation. Please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
Hello, Dino. Thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure. I'm Pantelis Vladimirou. I'm one of the co-founders of Webarts. The other one is Andreas, is my partner since the beginning. So we have started 2008. I was 27 years old then. In Cyprus, you consider young, but actually you're not young at 27.
Yeah, 27 is super young. And to jump into a business, I think it's the right age. You're more risk tolerant.
I'm a little bit mature enough to start. So my story is that we started Webarts from the beginning that I finished my studies. Andreas was already was still at college when we started. So we found an opportunity back then with the websites. So our first deliverable as a service was web design. And it was exciting back then, but still is. Back then it was more exciting, more romantic ages when you used to code and do other technology.
Back then, Joomla was quite
yes.
Popular.
It still is, but not in the first CMS, but still in the top 5. But yes, it was more fun, let's say, to the websites back then. And also, surprisingly, it was also very competitive. There were a lot of companies or freelancers or individuals that were doing websites. And moving forward, as the social media were growing, SEO, digital marketing was becoming a thing. We also introduced the rest of the services in the company. And we managed today to have approximately 50 clients on the retainer basis for marketing and around 250 websites that we manage and support. But the story that we have begun started by the fact that I was introduced to the marketing around 2010, and I'm from the science background, so I studied computer science. Then I made an MBA, and my question back then, when I was participated to a few meetings, was why marketing is so theoretical and why it's not connected with the technology, and why marketing is still only TV spot in the television. And I remember one meeting that maybe that meeting was the trigger point to evolve to a digital agency, when I was to a strategy presentation of a big client that was for a campaign that will run in Cyprus. And I was part of the meeting as a web design agency. And the presentation had a complete strategy, a research, tone of voice, target audience, all the stuff that they present to the client, the marketing agencies. And that was the theory and the creative part. And it ended up with an execution of a TV spot of 15 seconds. So that didn't make sense for me. And I told them, why? Why you have done all this?
And super expensive.
Yes, and I remember also the budgets. They have given like 300,000 for TV and 1,000 for the website and around 500 euros for Facebook. But that was a triggering point for me. And, I mean, my fundamentals was always that you have to follow your reason. And since the technology exists, and I also then I was getting inspired a lot from HubSpot and from inbound marketing. So that was my first trigger point that helped me create our vision, which now is also the same vision, to explore more meaningful way of doing marketing that is measurable, is integrated with the technology, it will deliver results, and it's more executionable and practical to the point of the clients. And it still is our focus point as an agency to evolve using this direction. I'm not sure if the next 5 years it will be the TV or Facebook or TikTok. Maybe it's something else. But the vision from there was to evolve marketing from that theoretical and, let's say, creative only area that was in, to the more meaningful. I'm not saying that creative and the theory is not important to the process. We also invest in people that they do that in the company, but that is not the main thing. So you don't start with the strategy and the creative and the execution and then you say, oh, okay, this will help us create 100 more clients.
Right.
You first start with we want the 100 clients, and then you follow the process of what you have to do to succeed this.
Interesting. There's a couple of points there. You brought up HubSpot and inbound marketing. I'm going to ask you just to give the audience what that is. But before I get there, you reminded me of something else, because you took us on a journey of how marketing has changed. The marketing landscape has changed from TV commercials, which was super expensive. And that's based off of, how the world was before the internet. And that kind of continued, to get a spot, an advert on the peak time, during a sitcom at 6 p.m. was super expensive. And that kind of continued even in 2010. And it's super interesting how the online marketing space has changed. And that reminded me of an app, which I'm going to try and find here quickly. I'm trying to remember the name, but maybe you know about it. It is, I had to download it here. It's real-time sales. So I opened it up. Jeez, I can't remember the name. Super popular. It's in the US, very popular. And man, I can't remember the name of this app. But when I opened it, this app will come to me later maybe. You get in and you find stores that are selling in an auction type setup, real time to a massive audience. And I was looking at one, I went into a store that had sneakers. Have you seen this? So they had sneakers, and on the spot, the guy was behind him, giving him the stock. And the person in front presenting the sneaker picked it up, said, whatever, $30. Anyone want? Whatever, 33. Do I have 33? Real time now. And this guy, within the 3 minutes that I was watching, had sold over 15 shoes in like 5 minutes. And it amazed me because, and it's picking up trend, like the way the internet is changing how businesses sell their products is really fascinating. And I think it makes sense that we, stay on top of these things and see what best matches your type of service. Have you seen this type of product?
I have seen it. I have not used it. I have seen
What's it called? Do you remember the name?
I don't remember either. So the interesting theory behind what you described is that, and this is fundamental, I think, also to the evolution of marketing. It's not about TV or radio or Meta or TikTok.
Yes.
What it matters is to actually measure what is relevant at the specific time, at the specific moment or year that you are running the campaigns for the client, and what makes more sense to them. So maybe in 5 years, Meta will not be relevant. It's not about online or traditional. It's about being relevant to the audience. So since you mentioned HubSpot and technology as well.
Yes. Tell us what inbound marketing is.
So inbound marketing it's a theory of marketing that it's around the actions that you do for your marketing campaigns and company that we, as the word describe, that will eventually attract your audience. So it's the opposite of aggressive marketing and sales. So with inbound marketing, you create content, you create great experience to your websites, video, valuable assets that people will come to you and explore further your services and company. And then with a process and a cycle and a journey that will eventually convert to clients. This is, for example, your podcast. It's a great asset of inbound marketing.
Okay.
So and what is attractive about this method is that it's more sustainable, it's more consistent, and usually the companies that follow the principle of inbound marketing and not, let's say, run discount campaign for a month to attract customers. Usually they have more loyal audience and more recurring revenues with existing customers. So it's like a more long-term investment if you want to do it right. And also the HubSpot will provide you the technology to do that, but you are not forced to do it. So what I understood, continue the conversation about the technology the last 15 years is that even if the technology exists, it doesn't mean that people will use it. So and this is happening also now with the AI. So we have some taste of the internet bubble as well. But I remember in 2014, I was trying to introduce HubSpot to a few of my clients.
Right.
I remember also some presentations. I was so excited with this technology that you can have everything in one place, control your contact, your CRM, your marketing campaigns, monitor everything, check every person that visits your website, create automations. It was really ahead its time, that technology. And I was trying to introduce it to business 10 years ago. And I remember specifically one presentation where, the license for HubSpot was starting around 700 euros per month back then. And that was the total digital marketing budget of a very big business back then for marketing. And they didn't even have a reporting system. So the thing here is that, and it also happens now with the AI, because I see a lot of people that are afraid of AI replacing a lot of tasks like content creation, marketing campaigns. It's going to happen eventually. Partially it happens today, but always it comes down to when us as a human beings or the business that we work with are willing to use it. So, for example, you have accounting software for 20 years now.
Right.
You have accounting software for 20 years that you can go and create an automatic invoice, print a receipt, and also scan the expenses of your company and do this stuff. Mm-hmm. So why this technology exists 20 years from now, and you see companies that make millions and they still use the paper?
Yes.
It's a human nature, right? So with AI as well. So the reason that I'm sharing with you now, it was part of our journey as Webarts. So, and I believe a lot of technology companies and marketing and services companies face this challenge. You always have to be relevant, not only with the technology and the assets that are available and the channels, but also with what humans and business at that point of time they are willing and mature enough to use. You have to find this time. Sometimes when you are ahead, you might stay out of business. Sometimes when you fall behind, you still can be out of business. So it's important to understand the needs of your customers and then create your products and services around it. So that's why I mentioned before that we are a digital agency by nature, but we focus on the services and the deliverables that actually bring value for our clients. So if your budget, for example, for marketing is less than 50,000 euros per year, let's say an example of a budget of a medium business in Cyprus, it doesn't make sense to go to other channels than digital and Meta and TikTok and YouTube, right, and invest a few of those to content creation and the rest on the advertising. And this is a principle of what we do and what we suggest. If you have more budget, then you can also use other channels as well. But it always comes down to what is relevant, what it can be used at that point of time to your customer, and at the end of the day, what will deliver the best result for the business.
Yeah, that makes sense. And and your insight there around inbound marketing versus outbound marketing is where outbound is aggressive, like you're calling the customer, you don't even know if they're interested, and you just call them and you see if they're interested, and it's a kind of a hit and miss. Whereas inbound, and you brought my channel as an example, is where you create content. Whoever is interested to engage in your content, great. And if you happen to speak about your services, then they will come by themselves.
Yes.
And that type of lead is a lot more probable to convert than an outbound. Makes sense. So HubSpot, actually, the founders of HubSpot, they have a book called Inbound Marketing Lead.
They have a lot of books.
They have a lot of books, yeah. So I read that inbound marketing was quite interesting, and that's where I was introduced to inbound marketing, which was, and moving on to what you said with regard to, it depends on the business, and budget is a big one. If you've got a limited budget, it only makes sense to go on social media, because a lot of the posts can drive organic traffic, which costs you nothing. The only cost is creating that content. So I guess a valuable question here for me especially, and I'm sure for the viewers, is, do you have some kind of a strategy around what, because you mentioned Meta, you mentioned TikTok, you mentioned Insta, whatever it is. Do you have some form of strategy around the choice of platform that you would post your content on, or is it kind of everywhere, whatever happens?
No, we have, and we do have a blueprint that we start the development of the strategy for the client from there, but always it depends on the goals, on the budget, and on the industry. So Cyprus is an easy case. If we are talking about the business in Cyprus, it's an easy case, because the channels that work in Cyprus, we have test them, we measure them, they're very specific. And since the audience, it's low, where you are targeting 1 million people, then using the platforms, you can narrow down to your specific demographics and audiences. So it's much easier. And actually, the channels are more or less the same the last 5 years. So you have Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram. You have LinkedIn. You have Google, which is Google advertising platform, and YouTube as well. And now you also have TikTok. And of course, you have local media. You have radio, and you also have TV. So this is for Cyprus. What it changed is what content you will use to this platform, how you will run your ads, how you will target them, in what pace. So the channels more or less are the same, but then the strategy, the content, how you will use them, it will be dependent on your industry, your goals, and your budget. So for example, and this is also a good thing for digital marketing usually, because you are flexible to work with any type of budget. So when a client comes to you and says that I only can spend 1,000 euros per month, then it's like the pillar. So you take, okay, with 1,000 you can do only Meta. You don't have budget for.
And how do you allocate that budget? Because there's obviously a cost in creating the content, and then there's a cost in promoting it.
You have to do unequal or FAR. Distribution for this. And actually, the shift is starting now to go more in content creation rather in advertising, because the platforms shift you that way. When it started, let's say before 15 years ago, you could see that 90% of the budget was advertising spend, and only 10% was for the content, for the TV commercial. Now, all platforms, Meta, Google, TikTok, LinkedIn, they have started the last 5 years to push organic content more than the advertise. Advertising will always be there. You always can pay Google to advertise. You always can pay Meta. But they're pushing not your page, not the content of your organic page, but in general, they're pushing the organic content. So you could see it yourself. You open your Facebook, and suddenly you see content on your timeline from people that you have never seen before.
Yes.
This was not happening 2 years ago. In TikTok, obviously, you see videos that the creator has only 1,000 followers, and the one video might have 1 million views.
Yes.
This is a principle of the platforms now. They are trying, before they were page-based, so the credentials were, okay, you are a popular content creator, you are a page with a lot of followers and likes, you do volume of content. Okay, those were all credits, and they were by
increasing your chances for your posts to get views.
Exactly. Now, they matter, they still matter, but they matter less. And what it matters is the actual content that you create, how valuable it is, how well it will go to the algorithm when it launched, how people will react to this content. And if it's valuable content, the platform, the algorithm will try to push it further. And this is a shift that is being pushed by the platform. So most of the business now, they understand the value of the content, and they know that, okay, maybe it's time to invest more, creating better content, more valuable videos to the audience, blog articles, things that the platforms appreciate. The valuable content is not the advertisement. The advertisement is considered
a direct sale attempt.
Usually it is an interruption. It's not the valuable content. It's something that the algorithm will push down. So I see a shift that is business are willing to invest more in content creation, and then obviously in the advertising spend.
So how would you advise a business to on how they can create valuable content. Is there any kind of tips? Obviously, valuable content, in the way I understand it, is whatever words are being said or whatever is seen on that content, video or whatever, it has to have some form of value and not so much buy this product, more like look what this thing does. I don't know. What would you advise? How would you advise somebody on their strategy to create what's considered valuable content?
Well, it starts valuable content. It doesn't matter the format. The format might be an article, an ebook, an infographic, an image, even a single post on LinkedIn with only text that is valuable can be valuable content. And obviously a video. The short video, it's by statistics now, the most consumed asset in platforms. Yeah. So that's why most of the business.
We live in this era, short time span,
exactly.
Swipe.
But it doesn't matter that the other formats are not valuable as well. So you start with your goal. So what do you want to succeed? Okay, I want to succeed in new people to come to my store or to my business. Okay, then the best way to start creating your content strategy, and actually this is indeed the best and fastest way, is to summarize the 20 most frequently asked questions for your customers. So you are an e-shop, you are a service provider. What are the questions that customers ask most? How much this is cost? What it does? What are the benefits of this product? How often it's being updated? All these type of questions that your consumers ask before buying your product are potential content assets that you can create. And then, which is the hard part, always this is the hard part, is the content creation itself. So here, there is not a specific formula. And the way we approach this, as we always advise our clients, is that you must find the best way for you to create content. So if you are busy and you cannot commit to write content every week, hire someone to do it for you. If you have time and you like talking and you like the cameras, do it yourself. Can you do once a week, 2 per week, 3 per week? Doesn't matter. What it matters is what you will commit to do it. So even if that it means that one piece of content every week is what I can commit, then this is the right strategy for you. But don't create a strategy that in theory it will say, oh, I must make 2 videos every day because that is the right thing to do. This will fail, right? So what we try to do is that we try to understand the business, see the resources they have and what they can use from us. And we find not the plan that will work, because a content plan is never enough. So if you could make 10 videos per day, they will be good for you anyway. So there is no magical number. The magical number is the one that you can commit to do. If it's one piece per week, this is your magical number.
So would you not put much importance on consistency?
Consistency is important.
Okay.
Volume is not important.
Okay.
So don't make 10 videos every week and then stop in 3 months. Mm-hmm. Better make these 10 videos, if you cannot do more, and allocate them 1 every week for the next 3 months. So consistent, and it means that you commit to a plan to make content once every day, 1 every week, and stick to it. Volume is not relevant if you cannot commit to consistent. Obviously, volume is important, but be consistent is more important.
And the quality of the content.
Of course.
All these things that we're saying, and I've had many guests that speak about, marketing and, your digital strategy, generally speaking. It's all revolved around how the algorithms work, right? before the algorithms were paying much more importance on the following of a page, and it was assuming that, as you mentioned now, and it was assuming that as a good metric for understanding if a page has got good content or not, and then was promoting it. But now with AI, it seems like it's able to find valuable content a lot easier by each individual piece that's posted, regardless of how many followers you have.
Yes, exactly.
And that leaves opportunity for really, literally anyone.
It's still hard to get attention. You need a lot of efforts, and you have to try a lot of things to succeed. So the algorithm change, but the principles are the same. I remember myself talking about content 15 years ago, and I'm still, at least in theory, saying the same thing. So the principles are there. As long as you create relevant and valuable content and you provide good experiences for your audience, either it's a website or a Facebook page or something that people will find interesting when they reach you within your content assets or your ads or your website, then you are in the game. So if the algorithm changes, sometimes it will push your content more. Sometimes it will push it less. Sometimes your video will get more views. Sometimes your lead campaigns will get more leads. This is almost impossible to follow and understand.
Right.
And the best way to approach this is to follow a plan, always try to be relevant. And now the next way of building strategies is to be dynamic. So in the past, we used to create strategies that will follow this strategy, this plan for a year. You commit with the media that you will spend an X amount of money for advertising slots in December, in November, in October. Yeah. Now, we do this as well now, but you always have to have a plan. But this is more like a flexible plan. So the plan is adjustable. The way that the best way to stay relevant and stay to your targets with your campaigns is always you have to measure the result. You decided in your plan to run 10 campaigns. 2 will run in LinkedIn, 2 in Google, 2 in Meta, and so on. When the reports are coming and the data, doesn't mean that you have to follow the specific budget in that campaign in LinkedIn if it didn't produce the numbers that you expected.
Right.
You can intervene and change the campaign or move budget to another campaign. So your strategy must, and the content strategy and the media plan strategy must be flexible and be evolved according to the results, to the reports, and what the algorithm is telling you. So same for the content. You start creating videos providing tips for your products, and you see that the 10 video that it doesn't work, change it a little bit. Can create another type of content. Create content that you talk about trends, not tips. It may be more interesting to your audience. You have to be flexible. You have to get the signals and then adjust. The principle and the core strategy is still the same.
Right. Super interesting. And I have a couple of questions here, but I'm going to take this podcast into 2 different directions, or I'm trying to decide which way to take this. Well, the one is based off of everything you said. And actually, let me ask this quick question, and then I'm going to move on to SEO, and as a new term now with AI that marketing digital agencies refer to as LEO, which is large language model optimization or something, right? Before we get there, how relevant would you say that analytics and data science, let's call it, is for your approach to digital marketing and your strategy around it? Because you just brought a very good strategy forward where you said, try this. If it doesn't work, 2 posts here, 2 posts there. Obviously, if you're able to have several hundreds, possibly, pieces of content that you're consistently posting, I would imagine that there must be some form of analytics that's behind that the platforms don't provide themselves specifically, but that you can kind of map into what has actually been good performance for you. Do you do some of this?
For us, data are very important, and data from different sources. So we use the obvious. We have the tools that we gathered, business intelligence tools that gather data in dashboards from Meta, from Google, from the website of our clients, and we monitor them day by day.
Can you share any of these tools?
Yes, one is very popular. It's called Databox, and also Dashtis. So these platforms, they integrate data from multiple tools, your CRM, your Meta account, your Google, your website, and then they present them to you in a way that we customize to make sense. So you can see exactly, for example, you spend 1,000 euro to this campaign. This campaign ran in these platforms. It generated this amount of traffic, this amount of views, that this amount of people reach your landing page, and finally those 20 converted to clients, to potential clients. So you can see all the levels of data analytics, and that help you make decisions, whether it's you need to change the content or the budget, or people are coming to your landing page but they don't convert. So this is it's mandatory and fundamental to your decisions of your next plan, of your next month campaigns, let's say. Yeah. So we take a serious consideration of the data. We monitor them every month with our clients, and I suggest all the companies to do this as well, because even if you don't have the tools, then you have access to this data from the platforms, and this should be part of your decision of what content will I make next month. Because if you don't check the data, let's say a campaign will generate you 100,000 views with a very small budget, but if this campaign didn't deliver you traffic to your e-commerce or lead generation, that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to do the same next month. You have to change something.
Yes, of course.
You have to check all the steps of the success. So this is the one part. And now, the more interesting part with the AI, as you described. Now, we also create a few blueprints that we use with prompts, actually, that we use AI to analyze this data and help us make better decisions of our clients, of what we can do next. Of course, most of the decisions are obvious, but AI will help you also to the speed that you make the decisions and everything. And you can have more real-time insights. Regarding SEO, as you described, we see, I made a post in LinkedIn yesterday about this, about the SEO. So yes, search engine used to be a fundamental asset of marketing, Google and general search engines for the last few years.
Let me create one quick presentation. Before you get into the details, I'm going to actually do something over here, and just to kind of build the context so the audience understands what the difference we're talking about. So before, we were looking for that app, right? That app that's trending that I couldn't find the name of. And now I'm going to use AI to my advantage to do that. Before AI, before ChatGPT, for example, this would have been a Google search. And so that app, if it had its SEO in place and optimized, it would come up in the first results. So that's the SEO. And so what I'm going to do now instead of using Google search, which would have been whatever I type out, and obviously that would be different to a prompt, right? I I'd put keywords in search. Search has changed. This is just talk to it and it gives you
conversation.
Yeah, and so here's the example. So this would be if this app has done its optimization on is the abbreviation LEO? Is that the right abbreviation?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure? Okay. Okay, so let's see. Can you hear me?
Hey there, what's up? Let me know what you need and I'm here to help.
I'm looking for a trending app, which is actually an online auction and has gathered millions of followers, and retail stores are able to sell in real time to a massive amount of audiences. Can you tell me what app I'm trying to remember? I cannot remember the name.
It sounds like you're thinking of apps like Whatnot, or maybe even Depop. Whatnot is one of the big names that's been trending lately. It's essentially an online auction platform where sellers, including retail stores, can sell in real time to a massive audience. It's really gained traction and has millions of followers across various categories. Though Depop is more focused on vintage and secondhand fashion, it also has a huge user base and allows real-time selling features. But given your description, Whatnot might be the exact name you were trying to recall.
Yeah, 100%.
So hopefully
you got it right. Thank you very much.
Right one?
Sorry I interrupted you.
Is the right one?
Whatnot? 100%. That's the one.
Nice.
I couldn't remember what it was.
So
Whatnot?
Yeah. What you just did?
Yes.
It's one additional way that probably it will be the future way that we will find we'll make questions and find our answers to the internet. I think this is one of the biggest challenges and worries that most of the board members of Google are discussing right now. So we cannot solve this in this podcast, obviously.
Yeah.
But there is a but. So another story. Let's say, for example, when the internet bubble started, remember Amazon, Bezos that tried to create the biggest marketplace in the world. So people started thinking that internet will be the future. All people will buy online. Companies like Amazon will become billionaires, and nobody will buy from the shops. This was 20 years ago, right? Of course, Bezos became a millionaire and Amazon is successful. But I think online commerce is still under 20% of the global sales.
Really?
Yes, retail is still huge, and the malls are huge, and the grocery shops are huge. Still, what I'm trying to say here is that, yes, obviously, e-commerce is a successful technology growth, but it didn't penetrate the market. So you have here another example. I don't think Google will be erased from OpenAI or any AI tool. It will still be there. People used to use it. They will still use it, but they have to evolve, obviously. So if you check recently,
they've got Gemini.
Yes, yeah. Google is integrating Gemini in the search. So now you're not actually you are doing search, but also the Gemini is working behind the search, and sometimes it will provide you suggestions.
It's confused me why only sometimes it comes up with results and sometimes it doesn't.
It's trying to understand. Yeah, I think they're doing tests. It's very early, but usually if you make a very clear question, it will come with a Gemini suggestion. But if you are looking for, let's say, a very specific brand or a product, it will show you the results. So it's trying to understand whether you are doing a question, you need advice, or you are looking for a specific thing. And now the whole Google search is a mess, because you see the AI results, you see the Google Maps results, you see the sponsor results, you see the search results, you see the image results sometimes. So I think they're trying to figure it out, but still they have the vast majority of the market share, and they will not change. But going back to what we should do. Okay, this is an issue between them to solve. It's not our issue. So in our case, to prepare our website, our content for this, if you follow up OpenAI and ask him where did he search, what did he do to find that answer, to see the result. Ask him, what did you do to deliver me these results?
Can you explain to me the process you followed to find the results and the sources that you used?
Absolutely. Let me break it down for you. So, process I followed. Understanding your question. First, I made sure I got the gist of what you were looking for. An online auction app with a live selling feature that has a huge following. Running a web search. I used a quick web search to find the most relevant and recent information. The query was something like trending online auction app with millions of followers where retail stores can sell in real time. Then reviewing results. The search brought up information about apps like Whatnot and Depop, which match your description pretty closely. Sources used. The main source was a summary from a web search result that mentioned Whatnot and Depop specifically. It highlighted Whatnot's growth and popularity, and also gave a nod to Depop as another platform with a large user base that supports live selling, though it's more focused on fashion. In short, I pulled the info from a web search and found the most relevant and up-to-date details for you.
When you do a web search, what search engine are you using?
I use a search engine provided as part of my web tool, which typically leverages broad and up-to-date web data. It's similar to using a major search engine like Google or Bing in the background, but I don't specifically name a single one because it can pull from a combination of sources. So in short, it's like using a general web search engine to get the info you need.
Well, hang on. Is it OpenAI's technology as a search engine, or are you using Google or Firefox or Internet Explorer or Edge, whatever, that you randomly pick?
I see what you're asking. So it's not OpenAI's own search engine, and I'm not literally going to Google or Firefox or anything like that directly. Basically, when I do a web search, I'm using a tool that queries a back-end service that pulls data from a general web index. That's usually powered by a major search engine's data, like Google, under the hood, but I don't randomly pick one myself. It's all part of the tools I'm set up with to fetch information for you.
Okay, so the reason that I'm asking is I want to understand if SEO, so search engine optimization on Google, still matters even if I'm asking you, the AI, a question.
Absolutely, that's a great question. In short, yes, SEO on Google definitely still matters. Even when you're asking me a question and I'm doing a web search, the results I'm pulling from are influenced by how well things are optimized for search engines. Basically, the tool I use pulled from the broader web, which is largely shaped by Google's indexing and ranking. So if a piece of information is well optimized for search engines, it's more likely to show up in the top results that I retrieve. In other words, good SEO practices definitely help ensure that your content is visible, not just to human searchers, but also when I fetch info for you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Very insightful.
So you got your answer. Mm-hmm. Next time we will use AI to the podcast. So in short, what it said is that it used, actually it didn't want to tell you, but it used Google to part of Google, right, to make the result. Obviously, it had processed the results to bring you the best ones, but it used Google. So when it used Google, it means that it also followed some SEO practice to run your website, which again we reach the same principle that we described before, but we have to evolve it and adjust it to the modern ages. So the same principle is that you still have to have a fine website that is fast, it provides good experience, has great content, it's optimized for search engines, SEO, and you will be relevant either for AI or for anyone. Now, it might come a day, or maybe today is the day, that you can do some minor adjustments to make your website and your specific landing page to get picked from the AI when people are asking for things. But the principle is the same. It just, again, you have to have the keywords inside the content must be relevant, your website should be fast in order to be one of the decisions that AI will recommend.
Right. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is there any other trends that you're looking at, and where do you see digital marketing and the digital space shape-shifting or adjusting over the next 3, 4, 5 years?
So the biggest challenge for digital marketing, I believe it for marketing in general and for all the industries, because now with AI, it's one of the first time in history that we will have a horizontal evolution. I mean, when the industrial revolution came, that didn't affect a lot the lawyers or the accountants or the doctors. It affected the factories and the technology and other optimizers. AI will affect everyone. So even the doctor that is using an MRI report to make decisions, even a lawyer, us, marketing. So what in order to remain relevant, because as I said before, even if the technology is scary and the agents are scary and all the stuff that's happening now, and I believe there will be a lot of disruption. The things that you have to keep in order to be relevant in marketing is the skills that mainly the soft skills that have to do with critical thinking, strategic thinking, exploration, because you still have to think and be smart to make a proper prompt to AI to deliver you the best content or the best suggestion for the marketing campaign, or to help you understand the logic behind how to allocate your budget for the campaign. So you have to be one step ahead of what AI will be doing.
Right.
And the easy way to find this is that if you are doing today tasks that are a simple hit of a button or a send of an email, or repetitive tasks that don't require a lot of thinking, those tasks will be eliminated.
Yes.
The other tasks that usually are, at least in our case, these conversations with clients, strategic thinkings, brainstorming, human analyzing of reports, understanding client needs, providing creative ideas for smart campaigns, those will still be relevant in a way. But nobody wants to make big bets on AI at this point, I think, because we all know how much it can go. But again, we will have the human adoption,
Right.
which I believe this will be the hardest part. And I still cannot explain to myself why companies are still making invoices manually. This is the simplest example.
Yes.
You have the tool, it costs $10 per month. Why you are doing manual invoices? This will happen with AI. You will have the technology in front of you, and some of the companies will stay there, and you will still decide to pick up the phone to ask someone to do the task and not type the prompt to the AI. I think there will be a phase until we reach that point, and that phase will take some time, and eventually most of the business will reach that point when they will understand that they are not competitive anymore, and they have to reach that point to be relevant with their competitors.
Right.
The way we're forced to do it.
Yeah. I think, a part of this is in human nature, people tend to stay in their comfort zone. Something that is an old technology, that is an old way of doing things, which was the mainstream back in the day.
What you trusted most. It worked for me 10
and
years.
You continue.
And I use it.
So I'm sure there's still a lot of faxes being sent out. Even though, we're in the era of emails, I'm sure there's faxing still happening. I'm sure dial-up is still a thing where telecom companies are making lots of money. I'm sure, pages might be a thing still. I don't know. But these new technologies, yes, they take over the majority, but there's still massive segments, I think, even that you wouldn't imagine that's still happening, which is interesting as well.
Yeah, exactly.
We spoke about different digital marketing aspects, and I have one more that I want to ask you about, if you know. and we touched on it briefly. So that Whatnot is a form of live streaming real-time sales, right? That's real-time sales in a live streaming format. I know in the iGaming space and in the gaming space, like Call of Duty, for example, there's a lot of influencers that use like Twitch or another streaming platform. I think Google also, YouTube has live streaming and Instagram. But some of these platforms are very dominant. They're the go-to place for gaming specifically. Do you consider that in your approach to sales in to your clients? And actually, this is also another question that I wanted to ask you is, do you serve any businesses outside of Cyprus? Because if you don't, I would imagine that Twitch or these streaming services are not so interesting for you right now. But if you can give some insight on that, real-time content delivery,
it's not common. It's not part of our core services or part of the majority of our clients that need. But aside from if we serve it or not, in general, real-time content, either there is a live stream or even you don't use live stream. For example, the last few days that we had a few negative events in the United States with the murders that happened there, you could see that the event happened and you could open TikTok and then the first video that you view was a video that actually showing the event that happened 1 hour ago. So real-time content, it's happening either way from the platforms, not necessarily for the live stream. But this is, I'm not sure if this is going to be relevant with marketing and the business yet, because there are two different things. First of all, is you as a business, what you can deliver and be relevant to your clients and to be up to date with the technology and your marketing goals and your business goals. And then it's the other more social part of the technology and the social media that they are driven at the same time from the society and from the Generation Z that are using more the social media from us and from for the algorithm updates. But you will not always, as a business, have to follow these trends to be successful. Right. So if live stream is a thing now, it doesn't mean that you will start live streaming at your shop. You could do it once, it will have some success, but it doesn't mean that it will be your main business. People don't want to see you live on the internet every day. They will want to see you, they have
something's happening.
Something that, yes, actually it's happening.
Or
yes. Overall, you have to be aware of the tools, because maybe one time that you want to run a campaign to your store, or if you are a shopping mall or something, to know that this technology exists, to use it and take it, make it part of that specific campaign. But it doesn't have to be in your strategy as a business.
Right, interesting. So, Pantelis, we've been speaking here for, I think, maybe an hour, maybe a bit more than an hour already.
We can talk as much as you want.
I think let's move on to some closing comments. If there's something that you feel I've left out. We didn't speak about Webarts so much, but I guess everything that we spoke about is what Webarts does as a service.
Yeah, most of the things, yes. Look, it's for me it's a very interesting period and challenging. I was talking with with Pantelis, a co-founder of Webarts lately. I told him that I have to feel that way since we graduated, because it's the exciting times. Still, we are feeling an exciting technology times. And the feeling is not negative, because I know there is a negative also reaction of the AI and the technology. For me, it's positive, and it's very exciting. So as closing, I just want to say that I believe that the most important thing, and that's also one of my fundamentals and thesis, is that you always have to follow reason. I believe the most crucial assets of every human being the next few years will be the critical thinking and the reason. For me, this applies to everything. You want to make a marketing campaign, don't do what everyone is doing or just posting content on Facebook or Instagram. Do what it makes sense for you, for your business, for your purpose. So we're moving to a more purpose-driven era, and in order to survive this era, you have to eliminate a lot of noise, because there is a lot of noise of what's available here, what's going to happen, how AI will evolve and will replace me, and all this stuff. So you, as long as you stay relevant with your smart thinking, with your reason, with things that you do and have purpose, either this is called marketing or content creation or advertising campaigns or report analyzing, then you will be not only relevant but also successful to the new era approach of AI and combination of everything. So, and this is everywhere. I mean, AI will be part of the customer service. Now, I checked a company lately that they have built an amazing customer service AI tool with voice. You will get served to the phone by an AI, and it will be the experience will be much better from the human. So what it means, that it will replace all of the call centers or the people. If that person, the skill of him was only to talking to the phone, then yes, it will be replaced. But if the skill is more than that, and he's able to understand the client and the human needs and the technology and the software, it will evolve. This is horizontally to everywhere, not only in marketing,
right,
to every industry. So for us in Cyprus, at least, we'll still have the 5 years leverage time to get involved of everything. Usually, what happens to United States take a few years more to
replicate.
So we'll have the warning signs and the signals. We can evolve eventually.
Great, Pantelis, thank you very much for your time. It was a very insightful discussion.
Thank you.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you to Dinos for having me.
Thank you, and that's a wrap.